impression that you make when you meet a person or you meet a crowd or when you're pitching your pitch deck. If you're contesting in a pitch competition, the opening line is the most important line. So that is where you will grab their attention. They will sit up and look what he's speaking, right? So that is the first step. And then is the PPT? Can we share it? Okay, right. So that was the first topic, which is known as the proper introduction. Okay, now if we move forward to a speech. Suppose you are called onto the stage and next week you are delivering a speech or a pitch deck. You will have to concentrate on few things. The first thing is time. Initially I told you whether 45 minutes is good enough, right? So if I go for 2-3 hours at a stretch, ready? Okay. Next. It is time. I think Winston Churchill once said that if you ask a person to speak for an entire day, you can just sit and chit chat. You don't need to prepare for that. But if you have to come and speak for 1 hour in your classroom, any subject, so that person has to prepare for 1 day about that subject, because he has to be ready of what questions you will ask. But if you have to speak for just 2 or 3 minutes, you will have to have practice for more than a week, because you will have to push in or cram in all that information what you wanted to speak for 1 hour in just 2 or 3 minutes, right? So you have to use the right words, the usage of the words, the word choice has to be perfect, and you cannot miss out on any of the content. So because we give you 5 to 7 minutes for you to pitch your idea, and if you come here and if you start your introduction, I was born in Hubli, this is my hobby and all, and if you spend 2 or 3 minutes in your introduction, and then also if you spend the next 2 or 3 minutes just talking about the problem statement, you will not have enough time to tell what your product. A person who just holds a mic and keeps talking as Mike Tyson, because he just hogs the mic, right? But you also need to see whether you are able to communicate with the audience, whether they are interested or they have started yawning already, right? So that's why time is very, very important. So, okay, proper introduction. Next one is time. Third is, okay. And now when you are speaking, your language has to be, it has to be appropriate, very neat. You cannot have unwanted, we call it as filler words. Can anybody tell me what a filler word is? Correct.
That's what I am saying.
He's actually telling what a filler word is. Correct. Did you guys hear what he said? Filler words are like these are all filler words. Youngsters usually, what filler words you use? I mean, like, so.
Basically.
So basically, right. These are all filler words. Why do you use filler words?
Think.
Correct.
It gives us time to think.
Time to think something.
It gives us time to think. That means you are not very clear about what you are going to speak, and you are taking that fraction of a moment, say 30 seconds, the fraction of a second, to formulate what you are going to speak next. So that's why we use. That's a filler noise. So that's why you have filler words. When you see commentators or news readers speaking, they do not have these filler words, because they have practiced over time. So you also need to practice, and for you guys, you will not realize that you have got lot of filler words. When you come on the stage and you speak, you need to know first what a filler word is, how to identify a filler word. What we'll do, now I am speaking, you take say 1 minute and you please note down how many filler words I am using, right? You please take a piece of paper, everybody, or just note down. And you all know what a filler word is now. Because I cannot call each one of you on the stage and start correcting you. But if anybody wants to volunteer and speak about something. Alright? You're all ready?
Yes.
Alright. So, again, alright is a filler word.
Yeah.
Imagine you guys are driving down from Hubli to Dharwad. Now there are two routes. First one is through the city, your old DRTS road, and second route is from the PB road, the bypass road. And you've got a nice car. You paid some 25 lakh for that car. Which road will you prefer?
Long smooth.
Long smooth one. Correct. And
Anything which saves
why?
time. Anything which saves my time.
Okay, anything which saves you time, correct. If you are in a hurry, you will choose the road which will save you time and maybe fuel. But if you are not short of time and if you are not short of fuel, like me, never short of fuel. So I will prefer to choose the longer road which has no potholes. So I would liken language with filler words as a Hubli Dharwad road, the internal road. Khadda. Lot of potholes are there, speed breakers are there, you have got traffic signals. People just keep jutting in through left and right, people don't follow traffic rules. But whereas if you go through the highway, it is smooth. Only one toll comes in between, but otherwise it is a longer route. But what at the end you will enjoy that drive. So this is how the difference between a language with a lot of filler words and without filler words. So, okay, now I think 1 minute is over. Can you just tell me how many unwanted filler words I used?
5.
5. 3 to 5.
You use the 2 times.
2 times.
So 4 times.
So 4 times.
Alright 2 times.
Uh,
This 1 time and 1 time and then 1
Please
time.
give me a round of applause. And I thought I speak really well. Observing others when they speak, how many filler words they have. Before, when I am speaking, I'd never imagined that I had so many filler words. I thought my speech was perfect. Because I don't know. I'm only concentrating on what I need to speak next and whether you guys are understanding it, and I need to make this discussion very interesting. Correct? And in that meanwhile, in that 1 minute, I made 6 or 7 mistakes. Correct? So if it was flawless, it is always good to have a flawless language. And if I am using filler words in English, it means I use filler words in Kannada and other languages also. So we need to start observing. So the first step for you guys is to start observing your language. It is difficult to observe your language. Only way to observe your language is record. Think about a topic, record it on your phone, play it and see, and keenly observe it. How many filler words are there? Sometimes it puts people off. And if those people are really learned, they will start observing your lack of clarity. They will think that you are having a lot of filler words because you are not clear about your business idea. Or even more dangerous is they will think that you are lying about it. If you are bluffing in front of your parents about your marks, or what you will do, what next they might ask. You will roll your eyes up. You will pause for a second. So investors also might get that wrong impression that you are not well prepared about your topic. Correct? So your language doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you need to have a perfect pronunciation. You need to have either American or UK accent. With any accent, but try to reduce the number of filler words. And the next point is, if filler words is clear, artha aita nimga filler words andre ena?
I guess instead of using filler words like we can use filler words like all right, right, okay. So we can use like this, right? Instead.
That is,
Yeah.
unwanted usage of and is also a filler word. So I use 4 so's.
Yeah.
These are all filler words.
And when you look at
When you're writing, do you write it that way? Do you write 10 ands, 10 so's like? I mean, we don't write.
No, instead of that, when you look at big personalities like Sadhguru or Steve Jobs, what they do is that whenever someone asks them question, they kind of sit quietly or sit silently for 2 to 3 seconds.
Yes.
They think about it, they look at the ground, and after that they come with the answer.
Correct.
And in the answer also, they kind of pause in the middle to kind of give the very right answer.
Correct. That is true. Whenever you are given a topic, you think on the topic for 10 seconds rather than just speaking anything. Think about the proper answer, and in that time also, what you need to do, you need to formulate your ideas, your thoughts, what you are going to speak. Correct? And this is a very important topic about what you are going to speak. So whenever you come to speak, the first important thing is to make a big opening. If you make a big opening, that means you can start it off with a question. Instead of just coming and tell, hi, hello, I am going to speak about this topic, this is going to be very boring. First come and connect with the audience. You either start your speech with a quote or a joke. So this what will happen, it will immediately capture the imagination of the audience. Oh, there is somebody different here. So first and most important thing is the opening in a speech. So every speech has got three main segments. One is the opening, open with a bang. Next one is the body. That means what you are going to speak in your speech. You need to have a proper content. And in that content, you need to have many examples. It should not be like a lesson. It has to be very interactive. You need to use examples, and you need to also involve the audience. Not that just look at front and whatever you learn, just blurt it out and leave. See if people are understanding or no. If you feel that you are going faster, see now we've got one is 5th and 6th standard. We also need to see that if they are understanding. Some of you might be 10th, 12th graduates, your understanding process and their understanding process are at different levels. So for a good speaker, he needs to understand the pulse of the audience and go according to the pulse of the audience. Maybe not 100 out of 100 success rate will be achieved, but at least 75% success rate is achieved, that it is a success for me. Right? So first point is the heading. Whenever you open your speech. Sir, if you speech kardaga, you first start madidre. Namaste and start madidla. Yeah, it's a good way of starting. But we can have, if you had opened with a joke or with a quote, it will immediately grab your attention, right, guys? You guys can share your opinion about this one. It needs to be very interactive.
All will be interested if you start with a joke.
With a joke, right? Right is a filler word again. Okay, so the body. And the third thing is the conclusion. How you conclude your speech. Your conclusion has to be in sync with whatever you have spoken. The opening also, the quote has to be appropriate with your speech, the content, and then in the end when you are concluding it, that also has to be connecting. If it is not connecting, just because you like the quote, you use that quote here, not this quote, Q-U-O-T-E, you use it, so that is not going to make a very interesting speech. So these are, whenever next time you guys are participating in any contest or speech contests, you need to be wary about these things. Alright, so what did we discuss? One is proper introduction, next one was time, third one was filler words. Okay, and filler words, we are in a speech, you have got three main things. One is the opening, you need to have a wonderful opening, body and conclusion. Next one is grammar. I will not get into too much details about grammar. You need to use proper grammar. Correct? Right? Anybody is a grammar expert here? Oh, Avnish is grammar expert. Avnish, can you tell what are articles and where they have to be used and where not to use? Because most of the 50% of the grammatical mistakes happen with articles. Correct? What are articles? A, and the. Just simple. Just these three words and 50% of your mistakes happen there. Right? Would you like to speak about articles? No. I'm sure you all know what articles are. Just use proper grammar. Again, like I said, if you're traveling from Hubli to Dharwad, you have got many speed breakers. It is like using improper language. So use proper language. People will actually love what you're speaking. Right? Grammar. Okay. And then the next is. We go to the next. Okay. What is body language?
The way you present yourself.
The way you present your skills. You said something?
The posture.
Body gestures. Yes.
Body gestures, movements.
Correct. And now you guys tell me why it is important.
Because it shows how confident you are.
First of
One
all,
of you, huh?
First of all, when you use gestures and move around, it shows that you are not actually scared of the audience and pretty confident in front of them. And second of all, when you speak to them, you look at their eyes and have a connection with the audience. So that means that you are trying to imply something which you actually want to talk to.
Here's the answer here. Isn't it? Very simple. I think you were also telling the same thing. Body language is very important. If I come here and I have a great content and I'm just standing here and looking at one place and I'm talking, irrespective of how good my content is, if I do not. Breaking. Okay, good. So we have got good news. I think pizza is here.
And in body language also, when you kind of stand still, there is a study that it reduces your confidence and
The person who is speaking.
when you open yourself, like when I'm sitting like this,
Correct.
it shows that I'm not confident and I'm not able to open myself.
Absolutely.
If I'm sitting like this, then it means that I've got some kind of confidence and it also opens up my body language.
Correct.
And if you are presenting yourself first time to unknown crowd, the crowd first sees your body language, and the first impression is always the last impression.
Absolutely.
And there is also a video regarding this done by the Harvard students on the YouTube. It speaks about how body language enhances your confidence and kind of gives you clarity of why you're speaking.
Absolutely. Because what you all have said is 100% correct. See, communication is 50% verbal and the rest is non-verbal. If I am making hand gestures, if I say, look at this object to my right, you'll all look here. But where is my right? Here, right? I said right. Okay, what I meant was left. So I said, but I showed my left hand, and you all looked here. So that means that your visual, body language or visual communication, you perceive more than 50% of the information through visuals. Correct? So that is why you need to have the correct body language. And your guys were speaking about gestures. If I am speaking about something very interesting, I need to attune my body language, okay, to that. If I am surprised, I have to look surprised. I cannot say India won yesterday's Pakistan. India versus Pakistan match, India won. Or you might have seen news readers, right? They will say somebody passed away. Their body language is going to be that we are really unfortunate to announce that so and so person has died of illness or old age. So that is their body language. You cannot tell. You know what? Yes. You cannot do that. If you are happy, you have conveyed the message. But again, important is your body language. See, if you guys watch sports, also cricket, if the batsman gets hit by a ball, okay, by a bouncer, if he sits there and starts saying, he will be in pain, no doubt. But what message he gives to the opponent, the bowling side, or the crowd in the ground, and his own teammates. Suppose you are a captain and you sit there and start crying. Your entire team will be like, you hodappa next time madodu now. Hoda nam captain na bidda, you best batsman na bidda. Next others, they will, when they come, they'll start shivering in their pants only, and that is where your match is lost. Guys like Tendulkar, Viv Richards, these, I'm talking about 70s and 80s. They used to come to bat without any protection. They never used to wear helmets. Only they used to wear your what is it? What do you call
Kneecaps.
pads, no? Kalaganagar. LBW Akhtar, right. That's it. Apart from that, no other protection, and there was no rule of one bouncer or two bouncers per over. If they get hit, if they start bleeding also, next ball they just come, they adjust their entire attire and they start.
The first ball of Tendulkar was like this only. When he first came, he was like 16 years old. He was playing against Pakistan and some fast bowler throwed a bouncer at him. His ear got bleeded and he fallen onto the ground. And the second ball only he hit a six. And in that match he scored half century or something.
So that was the beginning of a fantastic 21-year-old career, no? That's where the entire world took notice of that little genius. Right? On that note, our body language of our EDs, it is telling enough of your speech. Now let us go have some hot pizza. Even though he hasn't spoken a word, but by his body language we can make out that is what he meant. Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, shall we take a short break? 10 minutes break. Let's have our snack and come back and continue the same topic. Right?
Yes.
How come here?
So in the middle.
Any singers here?
Abhishek.
Okay. Can you tell me any one song? You don't have, can you sing? No, okay. Tell me any song. I'll sing.
Every song you
No, you just tell me a song.
like, I don't hear like old songs. I hear new latest songs. So I don't
बोलो
know.
यार new song you tell that try to.
बदल गया है
Like any song.
Sorry, see, I'm not talking about that. Suppose you know a song goes like. Huh?
मंजली जस्ट माता दे
Okay. So the idea here is suppose if you have got high pitch there, instead of going high pitch, you go low pitch. Or if we forget about songs and discuss about, I want to introduce myself when I come